Ladies and gentlemen, hello. Welcome to the best English-speaking comedy night this third-tier Chinese city has to offer. So it's Gay Pride weekend in Atlanta. So for me, my trip was not about embracing US culture alone, it was also about embracing gay culture. So, I had fun, guys. During the festival, there was the parade, and there was a very, very interesting float that I saw. The float was for something called the NGFFL. I have since researched the NGFFL. This is something called the National Gay Flag Football League. Looking at the players in this football league, it turns out they're not even good at football. In fact, they just suck dick. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for your first act of the evening? Yeah! Please give a warm welcome to the lovely Belle Courtney.
Let's keep it going for Ashley, getting all the technical difficulties out of the way for me. Yeah, Hefei, what's up, guys? I do not live here. It was a 2-hour train ride for me to get here. I live in Hongshan. I moved there about 2 months ago, which was pretty awesome. It's my first time living in China. Had a lot of difficulty getting there though with paperwork, documents, that sort of thing. Had to postpone my move for about 6 weeks or so. And I didn't want to postpone my move. I really wanted to get here and didn't want to be in America anymore, pretty much. But I didn't want to come here on a tourist visa and work illegally because I heard that China's built this wall, you know, to keep out the illegal immigrants and everything. I heard it's working. Is it work? I don't know. So yeah, it's interesting. I've lived in China now for a couple months. Bit of adjustment going on there. I would have to say the biggest adjustment that I have though is the toilets. You know, squat toilets, not my jam. Not my first time using a squat toilet though when I got here in China. My first time using a squat toilet was in Cambodia about like 8 years ago. I was on a boat, you know, drinking a shit ton because what the fuck else do you do on a boat, right? So finally there comes the point where I gotta pee. And I find the toilet, which is literally just a hole behind a door. Like, you're just peeing right into the river there. That's super sanitary. I loved it. And so after I was done peeing, there was no tissue, no anything like that. I hadn't learned yet to, you know, pack toilet paper into my purse every day. And there was just a bucket of water with a smaller bucket inside. And I'm sitting there, well, I was squatting there, excuse me, looking at this thinking, who the fuck is able to rinse off with that method, short of doing a goddamn motherfucking handstand? I mean, I swear to God. So I'm like, taking there, I'm just dumping it on my pussy. Dress is soaking wet from the waist down, and I'm standing out on the bow of the ship just with like the breeze blowing through it, and people are like, Belle, what happened? I'm like, don't fucking worry about it. Like, seriously, leave me alone. But no, I lived in Vietnam for a long time. Anybody here been to Vietnam? Ho Chi Minh City? Give a holler, give a hoot. Yeah, there they have mostly Western toilets with one really cool thing that's different, which is they've got a spray hose attachment, right? Anybody familiar with the spray hose attachment? It looks like the one in America that you would have on your kitchen sink. And I never wanted to use that because of my first experience with the dampness of the water spray. So it took me a good like 8-9 months to finally spray off for the first time. And so I went into the toilet and I was sitting there, I was done. I went to go and reach for my toilet paper in my purse, and I was out. I was like, fuck, shit, okay, fine. Get the nerve, grab the spray hose, and I spray off my bum. And I'm like, hey, that ain't half bad. That's fine. I turned it to the front. I was like, oh shit. That's amazing. Yeah, it took me a good 10 to 15 minutes to use a toilet after that, and I came out incredibly satisfied. So, yeah, a bit about me. I'm 34 years old, just turned 34. And it's quite fantastic, actually. I do have a boyfriend that is much younger than me. We met in America. I'm not sure if you guys know this or not, but the drinking age in America is 21. Like, they're really strict about that. But I met him. He was, I'm 34, and he's standing outside in one of those gas station convenience stores trying to get people to buy him beer. So I took his money, I went inside, and I got him a soda. It was love at first Sprite. No, it's cool though, it's cool. Like, actually he isn't that young. He's only 28. I just like that joke, I'm sorry. No, it's not that creepy. I'm alright. But no, it's cool dating someone who's so much younger than you, because it makes me realize how much I really miss my 20s. My 20s were amazing. I did everything that a 20-something should do. I traveled the world. I got my degree. I drank a lot. And I slutted it up. Fuck, man, like in 10 years, I slept with something like 12 guys a month. And I know it's probably because I would always sleep with them on the first date, but that was the only way that I could figure out how to keep them from calling me. So yeah, we've been here a couple months, and it's pretty cool. We had an amazing send-off from Seattle. You know, weed smoking and dabbing and eating and whatever else we can get on our hands on there, THC based. And we were out, it was a family barbecue, big barbecue, and my brothers and my cousin and my boyfriend and I all snuck out to the fire pit to go and share a bowl before dinner. And my mom, she came out and she busted us, and she's like, seriously guys? Really? Did you smoke all of my weed?
Oh shit.
Like, yeah, Mom, you left it out next to the chips and dip. What the fuck did you expect? I miss my family. But no, one of my good friends was there, and he's got some insecurity problems. He's a cool guy, really cute, but just doesn't really know how to talk to girls. And he's sitting there, he's talking with me. He's like, what is it that I need to, you know, attract women to me? I'm like, well, you should probably be a little bit more confident. He's like, oh, okay, how do I do that? I'm like, I don't know, the most confident guys I know are married, so get married. I suck at advice, I'm horrible at it. But it is probably the reason why, like, all of 2012, I only slept with married guys. Hey, I hear that in the laughter. Hold your fucking judgment. I slept with their wives, too. But no, it was, actually, I told that joke at a comedy festival a few months ago, and this woman came up after the show, and she was like, you know, when you tell jokes like that, you sound like a total whore. I'm like, okay, girl, I can forgive you for being a bitch, but I cannot forgive you for being ignorant, because I am not a whore, I am a slut. The work that I do is pro bono, thank you. No, I've done quite a bit of dating. I've done a lot of dating in my life. there was this one time I was out on a first date with this guy, and he was like, so, yeah, classic first date question, of course. What is your favorite thing to do? Like, get really high and eat a bag of potato chips? He was like, really? How old are you? I'm like, old enough to know what my favorite thing to do is, asshole. So, of course, I had to sleep with him to make sure that he would never call me again. And we went back to my place and we were fooling around, and we're having a good time. And he tried to sneak attack up my butt. I was like, whoa, what the fuck do you think you're doing? This back here, this is commitment level. I'm talking, you have met my parents, you know my Netflix password, relationship status. He looked at me with the most pain and disappointment on his face, and he was like, really? Okay. Couldn't handle it, man. I was like, fuck it, go ahead. So I started doing yoga recently. Started doing yoga for the same reason that every woman wants to do yoga. I want to get my ankles behind my head during sex, which I can't do that yet. But it has really helped me out with my breathing, because yoga gets you through some, breathing exercises and everything. And really good breathing gets you through some really difficult situations, like your morning dump, after unexpectedly taking it up the ass the night before. Which leads me to the thought, do you think that using hemorrhoid ointment as an anal lubricant is tacky or just extraordinarily great planning?
Never need first-time drinks, man.
So, you know those style magazines and hair salons that you look through and you get your hairstyle off of? I really wish that those were available in waxing rooms, because I'm never quite sure what sort of style my pussy hair is supposed to be in. Like, there was this one time this guy was going down on me. He was like, damn girl, you went old school and shaved it all off. It's like, no, you motherfucker. Old school's like full on out bush, right, ladies? Right? Which, oh my God, there's nothing wrong with that if you go full on out bush. I personally do it once a year for No Shave Movember, to raise awareness and all. And trust me, awareness has been raised. Plus, there's the added benefit that when I go clean shaven again, everyone's like, oh my God, you look so much younger. No, I do. I sometimes have difficulties with dating. There was this one time I was out at the bar, and I was writing some jokes and stuff. I was by myself in my own zone, everything. This dude who was a little weird and awkward came up, he sat down next to me, and he offered to buy me a drink. Now, I should tell you guys, I don't mind being called a slut, but I hate being thought of as a bitch. Leaving an interaction with somebody with them thinking, wow, she's a bitch. So, I'm sitting there, this guy offers to buy me a drink, and I'm like, oh shit, I got limited options, right? Either I can be nice to him for a while, let him buy me a couple drinks, he asks me to go home with him, and then I tell him no, and he's like, oh, she's a bitch, right? Or I can tell him to fuck off right away, and he's like, oh, she's a bitch. So I have to sleep with him, right? That's my only option. So instead, what I did is I just bought him a ton of whiskey shots. So when we got back to his place, he couldn't get it up. And then I left with him thinking, wow, I'm a bitch. But no, it's interesting. I do get a lot of attention from men. I would have to blame the ladies. I'm not blaming the women here. I'm blaming the ladies. I got amazing tits. Look at them. They're 34 G's. As in G's. Those are fucking huge. When I was younger, it used to bother me. People would come up to me and they'd be like, oh, you got really big boobs. Okay, yeah, can you think of something better to say? But then as I got older, people were like, oh, you got really big tits. I'm like, yeah, thank you, I grew them myself. But no, I started to realize realized that I can make these girls work for me, right? Like, guys, if you're gonna be taking a look and staring at my tits, then you need to buy me a drink. Vodka, soda, buy me a drink, right? Yeah, no takers? That's because I have figured out that men need things written down. So I've decided to write it down in the only spot that they seem to pay attention to. If you can't see, it says vodka soda right there. Now you gotta buy me a fucking drink. You guys have been amazing. Thank you, Hefei. I'm Belle Courtney. Have a great night.
Thank you, Belle. If anyone wants to stare at my tits, I like scotch with one piece of ice.